Welcome to our coverage of Day 2 in the chess competition of the Olympic Esports Series. Chess is one of 9 esports chosen by the IOC for the inaugural event. We want to welcome those watching on Olympics.com/esports and, of course, those watching on Twitch and on YouTube. I'm Grandmaster Robert Hess. Alongside me is Grandmaster Daniel Naroditsky. Danya, we had a very exciting Day 1. How excited are you to see Day 2 and see the 8 players who will make their way to Singapore?
Listen, I love playing in Blitz tournaments, Robert, but I also love watching them. Yesterday was action-packed. The action started on minute 1 and ended in the final minute. Today is going to be even greater action as some players will be eliminated and some players will be going on the website of their respective airlines after this tournament is done.
It is always sad to see some players leave an event, but that's the nature of competition. And where we started to where we are now, we've already seen many players eliminated. We started with nearly 24,000 people competing in the qualifiers from April 1st to 7th. Then we had about 2,100 in the April 13th through 16 trials. That number was whittled all the way down to 16. By the end of today, the preliminaries will be over, and we'll be sending 8 players through to the finals in Singapore from June 22nd to 26th. Danya, the players must be stressed right now.
Oh, they absolutely are, and somewhere in some deep, dark corner of an Ivy League university, someone's performing mathematical calculation. What percent of players of the 23,778 remain? Well, let me tell you, in mathematical terms, it ain't a lot, and it's going to be even less, Robert, after today finishes. This is the day when the players get eliminated or they qualify. Yesterday was the preliminary. Yesterday you had a cushion. Today you do not, especially if you lost 1 or 2 matches yesterday.
And it's not just about who is left standing, it's about how they are standing, because every single player who is in the preliminary phase, 16 of them, they still are in the competition. But Alexander Bordik, Alexander Shamanov, Shant Sargsyan, and Samvel Tirsahakian, 2 players from Armenia, a very chess-rich country, are at 2-0. But then you have the players right behind them, those 4 with 1-1. Who do you expect to join the pack at the top and make it through to Singapore?
The least expected name on 1-1 is Alexi Serrana. I expected him to be 2-0. He has rampaged through all online events the last couple of years. So I am expecting a strong performance by Alexi. He rebounded, Robert, after that first round loss with a 3-0 victory against Pranesh. I think he's righted himself. So Alexi Serrana, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. But Sam Amin, Jaime Santos Latasa, they're almost 2,700 FIDE. They are not pushovers in rapid time controls. They are going to stake a claim as well.
Yeah, these are some monsters of the Blitz chess circuit. And when we talked about 8 players, there are another 8 in the field, and 4 of them also are at 1-1. You will note that Jose Martinez has been eliminated. He's disqualified because he could not get online. And so Riyad Samadov, he takes that match. He goes to 1-2. Down to the players on this page, who could you see making it into the top 8 and through to the finals?
Listen, Yali Sokolovsky is a name I mentioned yesterday. He is an exciting young prospect from Israel. He's an international master, but he plays Blitz on the level of a grandmaster. It's only a matter of time before he achieves that title, Robert, in classical chess. But Pranesh, he's 0-2. He had a disastrous performance yesterday. He could barely win a game. Maybe a good night's sleep, some coffee, a little bit of tactics. What kind of magic can't that do? I'm looking forward to Pranesh trying to rebound. What a story that would be if you go 0-2 in the first day and then win 3 matches in a row on demand to make your way to Singapore on the 2nd.
Yeah, you'd have to believe in miracles at that point, going from 0-2 in this field and winning 3 straight matches. And after round 3, 2 players, we will know who they are, will be going to Singapore. 2 will be remaining at home. Then after round 4, 3 more players will join the bunch heading to Singapore. They better pack their bags, while others may have to unpack them as 3 more get eliminated. Then, last but certainly not least, after round 5, we will see our 8 fill up, and we will see another 3 join the 5 remaining at home. It's unfortunate. It may be heartbreaking for some, but there will be jubilation for others, Danya.
When you said unpack your bags, I remember this very common scene at the airport. There's always a big family, and they have 7 different suitcases, and they're frantically trying to repackage an item from one suitcase to the other to fit the weight requirements. I think that's relatable to anybody who's traveled at least once in their life, but some of these players are going to be doing traveling. Others are going to be watching wistfully from home, as you said, Robert. And there's only one way to find out which players will belong to which category. I can't wait to jump in. We had some outstanding performances yesterday, particularly Alexander Bortnik. I'm excited to see how he's going to fare today and how quickly he will be able to win that third match and make his way to Singapore.
Well, you mentioned Bortnik. He is Bortnik strong. He has flexed those blitz muscles. There was a bit of fortune going his way against Maxim Chigaev when Chigaev blundered a rook at the end. But look at Bortnik taking on Sargsyan, Shamanov taking on Sargsyan's compatriot in Samvel Sahakian. So we have an Armenian duo at the top. And then we have Alexei Sarana against Nguyen. We have Bassem Amin against Rakhmanov. So Danya, of the matches here, who do you think is going to stamp their ticket after the third round?
Well, it's a tough matchup for Sasha Bortnik. Sargsyan did great in the last title Tuesday. He's super strong. He plays very quickly. Bortnik plays a little bit more slowly in blitz time control. He's an amazing time scrambler, but he is a bit of a time scramble addict. So I'm curious how that clash of styles, Robert, is going to go for Sasha Bortnik. But Samvel Sahakian, the guy wins 2 games on demand against Alexei Sarana, wins the Armageddon, and then on top of that wins the next match as well. Will Samvel be able to carry over that magic to day 2? Again, there's only one way to find out.
We will find out soon. And we're talking about some people being happy at the end of 3 rounds because they will go on to Singapore. But there will be some unhappy players. Jose Martinez, he has forfeited this match against Riyad Samadov. So Samadov, he's happy. He stays in the competition. But Danya, Jaime Santos, Ohanyan, Maxim Chigaev, and Yalis Sokolovsky, they are 1-1. They can afford a loss. But Pranesh and Mittal, these compatriots, the loser of that match is eliminated.
And Pranesh is obviously the favorite. He expects himself to win, and that is just going to be one match on what will end up being a very long and treacherous journey. He will have to win 2 matches after that. But if you're in a deep hole, you can't think like that. You can't think about the magnitude of the comeback that awaits you. You have to take it one match at a time. As cliche as it is to think of things one thing at a time, that's your only choice. If you're someone like Pranesh, you're someone like Ohanyan, you got to win the next match, and you got to win the next match, and you got to break it down even further, Robert. You got to win the next game, and then the game after that, and that way the task ahead of you becomes a little bit less momentous and a little bit more manageable.
Yeah, you have to break it down into bite-sized pieces, and it's a lot to chew on, but for the players, they do have chances here. And just quickly, Danya, Sokolovsky, international master, he did beat Jaime Santos yesterday. Do you think he can stir up some of that magic again today?
Listen, he's got Sokolov in his last name. That is like Ivanov. That's a great last name to have if you're a chess player. I think there's maybe 3 or 4 GMs named Sokolov, and he's got the ski after that as well. I mean, he's pressing all the right buttons. I'm expecting an outstanding performance from him today.
Well, he'll have to hope that the slopes are kind to him because it's not going to be easy out there. Every single player in this competition is super tough. So, Danya, I mean, we have so many worthy competitors, but we have whittled the field down to 16, and some will be eliminated after this round. But let's talk to everybody about the format, what we're about to see. For those who did not join us yesterday, or those who have not been following the competition, this is a blitz time control. It's a best-of-4 game match where the players have 3 minutes base time and 2 seconds are added for each and every move. You get 1 point for a win, half for a draw, traditional chess scoring. 2.5 out of 4, or even if you get 2.5 out of 3, that's the minimum to win the match. But if it's tied 2-2 after 4 games, we get to Armageddon with bidding, and we know how exciting Armageddon is. We saw that just yesterday.
We had a couple of Armageddons. We also had a couple of critical game 4s where the first 3 games ended in a draw or 1 win apiece and 1 draw. In particular, Bortnik Chigaev. That stands out. That was an unbelievable endgame time scramble. Back and forth they went. We were sure at some point that Maxim Chigaev was playing without risking. He could win a piece in 1 move, and he ends up blundering a rook to a fork. So absolutely anything and everything under God's blue sky can happen in these Armageddon and Game 4 time scrambles. I am sure that we will have more of them today, Robert, and the stakes are even higher because potentially some of those time scrambles are directly going to decide who qualifies for Singapore and who doesn't.
Yeah, it's the Olympic Esports Series, the OES. And for the players, there is a lot of stress. This is not something that they get to do every day. A trip to Singapore to face off for the OES Finals, June 22nd to 26th. That is what they have in their sights. And for some players, that's just 1 match victory away. But you can't count your chickens before they hatch. You can't just say, I'm going to get there because I have 2 wins yesterday. Today's a whole new day, and there's a new opponent in front of them.
It absolutely is. And just like in closed tournaments and round-robin tournaments, there's no such thing as an easy opponent. So if you're someone like Alexander Bortnik or Samvel Sahakian, you lose the first match, you might end up playing, an Alexei Sarana or a resurgent Pranesh or, you know, an Amin Bassem, and that's not going to be an easy matchup either. So it's very, very easy to think that everything is all but in the bag. All you need is one more win. But remember, you're not going to get all that much of a weaker opponent if you lose that first matchup. So you want to strike immediately, and that's what Sasha Bortnik will try to do. And Sasha Bortnik has started his match, and I will bring that match up in just a moment. Here we go.
And we have liftoff. The first moves are underway in these matches, and we see a situation where both sides have pushed their rook pawn. So Daniel Bortnik, we know he likes to play another rook pawn move.
Hello?
So, are they
Guys,
playing chess at a high level?
My mama taught me that you're supposed to develop your minor pieces, Robert. But clearly, my conception of chess is outmoded, so I'll let you take over.
I thank you, friend, for putting this on me. But it makes sense what both players have done. Black played h5 to stop white from pushing the pawn up the board and developing the rook in its starting square. White pushed a4 on the queen side to stop black from playing b5. So we can justify the decisions of those rook pawn movements, but now players are striking the center. This looks more like the chess that we're accustomed to seeing.
And this almost looks like a normal opening, like a King's Indian type structure. Bortnik decides to close the center with d5, and the eval bar calling Shant Sargsyan's knight advance a mistake. That might be because of knight b1. That's actually a pretty typical idea because it threatens c3, and the knight would have had no way back. I think that was an early missed opportunity for Bortnik. I didn't see a way for black to save the piece. Now Shant can establish and ensconce that knight with the aid of the pawns. Will he recapture on c6, though, Robert, and sacrifice the d4 pawn? I don't think so. c5 might have been sloppy.
Yeah, no, you do not want to take back with a pawn and lose a pawn, but you don't want to take back with a knight and hand your pawn the d5 square. It's like a knight orf gone completely wrong for black. So, Dana, this is a situation where we both feel like Bortnik has the upper hand. Both players missing something out of the gates, but that's understandable. They don't have the evaluation bar to their side. They're not alerted when there's a tactic available. That's the big difference between Puzzle Rush and playing.
Ugh.
And whoa!
What is he doing?
Yeah, can he just
take b7?
Isn't it just winning for white?
It absolutely is. Now, typically there's an idea in the King's Indian where white plays c7 and jettisons the pawn in order to keep control of d5. Here he's able to do that while keeping an extra pawn. This is an opening catastrophe for Shant Sargsyan.
It is indeed, because black is down a pawn. It's a healthy extra pawn for white. And look at this move. That is great understanding by Bortnik. He could have castled his king, but he sees that the move for black is pawn to d5. So he leaves the d6 pawn as a backward pawn, a weakness that he will target. That is a great move. Something that won't come up when you browse through the game quickly, but bishop c4, an excellent, excellent play by Bortnik.
And things are going from bad to worse. I think even if black had an extra pawn here, if you like added a pawn, I don't know, on like b6 and c6, the position would be unclear. Bortnik has his cake, and he's eating it too. He's got total dominance over the center. He's got that target on d6. He's got an extra pawn, and on top of everything else, he's got the pressure on the f7 pawn. So he can choose to transform his advantage from positional to tactical with a well-timed f4 pawn push that would be very consistent with his tactical style. But right now, I think he's just enjoying his life.
Well, I think, look at Shant Sargsyan's background. He's enjoying his life, too. He's singing, "Don't let the sun go down on me," and he plays d5. He strikes in the center, and he wants activity, and that is something that the best players in the world do, is they give up material, in this case, another pawn, to get that knight hopping around. So I think this is a good practical choice by Sargsyan.
Absolutely, and Sargsyan never goes down without a fight. He never goes gentle into that good knight. And Bortnik blundering the d5 pawn, there was absolutely no reason to do that. He could have dropped the bishop back to a2, Robert, and kept his two extra pawns. A lot of giving away of pawns going on here. And on top of that, white has to now